Shoo-doo-doo-wee, wee, ah. Ooh, ah, oh, yeah, mama, yeah, la-do-ba.
In one of the groups I was with, I really liked the players to the point where we got together one night and I said, "Do you want to bump things up a notch and let's form a band?" Well, we couldn't figure out a name, so I said, "Well, it's my idea. How about the Paul Ingram Quartet?"
Paul formed this quartet in July of 2005. Though based in Imperial Beach, they play all around San Diego, often with many guest musicians. Here, he is playing at the South Park Grill with several college students, people whom Paul says he derives great inspiration.
My God, it's an incredible resource of people, and they're great. They're wonderful to work with. It's just smiles all the time. They're really into it. Their enthusiasm is incredible. Plus, they drive the old man here. They keep me on my toes all the time.
Paul has connected with many regional artists such as jazz singer Tokely Mishovic and has been influenced by educators during trips to Ensenada, a Mexican city which lays just 75 miles south of Imperial Beach. There he learned new rhythms.
I met some tremendous musicians down there. There aren't many of them, but a couple of them are professors that teach jazz theory at a college down there. And I would sit in with these guys, and they were top-notch.
Paul started delving into composition during his service in the Air Force, but his love for music came much earlier when his mother, an accomplished pianist, shared a love for David Brubeck's Take 5. This ultimately guided Paul towards his life's passion.
I remember the instance specifically. I guess I would take the utensils and I would beat on the glasses and the tableware. And we were at dinner one day, or lunch or something, and she took her, what was ever in her hand, and she slammed it down on the table. And she looked at me and she says, "If you're going to make all that racket, I'm going to sign you up for the drums."
In all the things you are, all the things you are, all the things you are mine.
Chuck Giles is a painter and has been for many years. Seen here is his first painting, which was completed in 1952. Chuck joined the San Diego Watercolor and Portrait Societies, where he received awards and commissions. A significant aspect of Chuck's paintings is the capturing of familiar things. Sunsets, piers, portraits, and families. He is continually inspired by his surroundings and chose to settle based on his memories of childhood beaches.
And my son suggested that I check out Imperial Beach. So I came down here and I thought, wow, this place is unreal. It reminded me of Hermosa Beach and Redondo when I was growing up.
O pardon, said bold Robin Hood. O pardon, I thee pray, for it never becomes your lordship's coat to take so many lives away.
Norm draws not only art inspiration, but also life inspiration from the original story of Robin Hood, a book he received from his mother when he was quite young.
What matter is this, said the bishop? Of whom do you make this ado? And why do you kill King John's venison when your company is so few?
Norm is an example of a person's innate ability to be creative. He interprets the world around him by embracing his alternate side as a playwright, poet, and philosopher.
But in this age, it was pretty brutal. But yet, even in that age, there were that one thing that seems to keep bugging dictators and emperors and everything. It's called freedom. And that was something that is resonant in everybody's thinking the minute you say Robin Hood.
When I opened my cafe 4 years ago, I basically didn't have anything existing on the walls at all. And one of the first pieces came to me from Sean Fowler, a good friend, local, very good surfer. And the The picture was done by Terry Gillard, which is also a local artist and one of the best longboarders in probably California or this hemisphere. And it was just the gift, and it was the beginning of many, many gifts. I had no idea I was going to end up with a nice little collection of local artists.
For Katie, the art is a personal gallery to share with friends. It's a permanent collection with a personal connection to Katie's love of surfing and the environment we live in.
I think surfing can be really creative because every time you go in the ocean, it is going to be completely different.
Katie, who began surfing at 40, sees it as a creative experience. The tide, wind, and swells makes it feel like a ballet where everyone is unique. However, a different type of creativity would soon enter into Katie's Cafe.
Well, when HBO came to town, it was a very exciting time for me. I was in my first year of business, so I was just in baby steps, and all of a sudden David Milch was in here.
HBO producer David Milch created John from Cincinnati, a surf noir story of a family of surfers that happen to live in Imperial Beach. Katie's Cafe also served as one of their regular locations, known as the Internet Cafe. The clock with the words, property of Yost Boards, nestled between the chalkboard menus on the wall, is a lone reminder of the offbeat, yet colorful show that was once filmed here.
Some of the stars that really stuck out in my head was, of course, Luke Perry, which is all the ladies' favorites. He was great. When Ed O'Neill came through and sat down for a cup of coffee, he was a riot. He is just as funny as he is on television and super nice. And then we had Rebecca De Mornay in here. Very, very beautiful woman. Just sat in the window and just got prepared for her shots and just was a knockout to see. They were all beautiful people, but they couldn't have been any nicer.
When Milch was asked why this location, he responded, "It's important that the show be on the border of land and sea, the border of two countries, and the border of the natural and the supernatural." Martha and Steve founded the South County Renaissance Project, producing the Imperial Beach International Film Festival and Art Walk.
The Imperial Beach Film Festival was really a grassroots effort. Folks from the community came together and they supported us. Students, friends, donors, and members of the business community.
The goal of the festival is to promote community involvement and provide a mix of artists of all types. It has been the host of seminars with industry professionals and film projects within the community.
So this was the point that we were able to really connect with the youth in our community. In this case, students from Mar Vista High School. We approached Tokely Mushevuk, who at the time was the drama teacher at the school, and we said we'd like to do a film project, and what came out of it was Project Life.
Project Life was a short film produced by SCRP, which catalogs the life of students in the theater department at Mar Vista High School. What resulted was a candid and compelling glimpse into the effect of art on adolescence. Less than 100 yards from the shoreline is the Art Wheel School for Pottery. It was opened in the middle of 2010 by Elizabeth and Jeff. They decided to make a substantial investment and turn the bottom floor of their home into a commercial studio for clay works.
I think in ceramics you can learn about many cultures of the world because pretty much every culture, especially every ancient culture, has ceramic arts.
Jeff met Elizabeth in China. Both are well educated, Jeff with a degree in Asian Studies and Elizabeth with a degree in law. They see a depth in their creations and are aware of the stories told when they tell their own.
Yeah, for me, historical content is very important. A lot of references to Native American and Neolithic artwork. I just find it very inspiring. I think it's a language without an alphabet, but it communicates things. And I find that a great part of an inspiration for me in trying to bring it into a modern context and speak to what's going on in art and life nowadays.
Kelly is a third-generation artisan who specializes in metal fabrication. Kelly's excited by the prospect of working with found and repurposed materials.
Sometimes it's a challenge when I have a particular project in mind to find those materials. So it turns into a scavenger hunt, and some materials are harder to find than others, then I end up purchasing them. And so that's one of the challenges. But I enjoy that's all part of the adventure of creating something.
Kelly was fortunate to hold multiple fabrication jobs when he was younger, including aircraft tool fabrication and car customization.
And so these different materials and techniques and tools and machinery overlap into my art. So I really take a great pride and passion into taking leftover materials, like pieces of leftover steel, and turning them into a sculpture like this is a bunch of leftover chains.
Kelly is quick to point out the importance of art in everyday life. This is also evident in his works, many of which can be seen around town.
Almost everything that you see, that you work with, you talk on a phone, you're driving your car, all started from an artist rendering. A car is started from a block of clay and they sculpt it. So almost everything in our life has something to do with art.
Gail is a painter whose studio is centered in an illustrious garden. Having made and sold artwork since the age of 5, Gail has great insight about the false perceptions of artists being promiscuous and unreliable.
People would be surprised that I was an artist who had, one serious relationship and had a child and liked to cook and was just, and they would be, are you sure? And I think that has changed somewhat. And people seem to think that you could be a member of society and still be an artist.
Gail stresses the importance of art as a communication device, without boundaries and borderless.
You could communicate by looking at a person who was Italian. If you didn't speak Italian, it wouldn't really matter what language, or if they lived 200 years ago, you don't have to know how they dressed or how they brushed their teeth. It's just the feeling that the artist had when he made the work of art, and the feeling you get when you look at the work of art. That communication is the most important thing about art. So as far as I'm concerned, there are no borders with time or with countries or with any of that.
Often, creativity is stifled by the idea of it being judged by the community. However, Gail offers a centered view on the subject that may be helpful to artists with anxiety.
It's like they're your children, and you do the best you can as you're making them, and as your work maybe months or even years on a painting, and you change it slowly, and then you have to send it out. And how it's received is almost none of your business, because you did the best you could, you put what you could into it, and then it goes out.
The Art Kids of San Diego County was established in 2004 with the goal of teaching young artists not only about art, but how to sell and market their works. 6 of the artists are now making a living as professionals and doing what they love most. For the last 6 years, the Art Kids organization, with leader Howard Woodward, joined South County Renaissance Project in organizing the Imperial Beach Art Walk, which has helped raise money for the art programs around South San Diego. Tim Taylor introduced his two children, Tegan and Dylan, to jazz at an early age. They started listening to jazz together when they were only 7.
As we're jazz, you've got this 100 years history. Been involved everything from 2-beat sort of down-home sounds all the way to the most modern outside chord changes and outside melodies and harmonies. It's just fantastic.
Working through generational differences is a challenge for any modern family. However, the Tegan family have found the right compromise.
Well, one of my favorite artists right now, is Jamie Cullum, and I think he's like a perfect example of that because on his records, he does like straight ahead, like jazz standards. And like on his new album, The Pursuit, he did a version of Rihanna's Don't Stop the Music. He brings pop and jazz and just brings it together. And that's where I kind of think the medium is to our generation. You know, if they hear him, hey, you know, he's doing that song that Rihanna does and it's really cool. You know, but with the jazz twist on it, I think that's kind of the medium. And we do that. I mean, we do the straight ahead jazz stuff, but we bring pop into it. And, you know, we want people to say like, you know, oh, this is jazz? Oh, this is cool.
In August of 2010, the group went into the studio to cut tracks for their upcoming album titled I Can't Complain, with 8 covers of jazz standards and 3 originals.
With the songs that myself and my dad have written, I've come up with the lyrics and they just kind of like rain, just like coming down and write it down, and I'll have the melody. Yeah, and just me, who I don't play a guitar or a chord instrument, and trying to tell my dad, this is what I hear, you know, and trying to figure that out. That's the most difficult part about, you know, writing music, but it's a beautiful thing once you put it together. And
in a recent interview with the local press, Tegan said that she would like to learn more about working together, speaking to the challenges of working as a family.
It's awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
So this is where the truth comes out.
It's awkward.
No, it's just.
It's awesome.
I
love it.
I just don't want to have the whole like family band label.
Well,
when I work with these guys, I try to work with them more as a friend rather than a dad.
Well, what's cool about it is that like all these bands are like, oh, we don't agree, so we're breaking up. Like, if we just agree,
we can fight.
Yeah, we can fight and like be mad for 5 minutes and like, okay, let's just do this. I mean, we're a family. That's what we do, and so that's why I kind of think the energy and, you know, the musical creative thinking kind of just flows. You know, we might get mad at each other, but I mean, we gotta live with each other. You know, so gotta get over it.
Good enough for me.